guys, Mad Dog Levine here at Courtside Racket Club today. It's raining out, but it's beautiful in, so we're going to talk about string. So what I want to talk about first is the categories of string, and number one is one of our most popular topics, polyester. We hear all the guys on TV talking about polyester and how polyester is so great, but it's only great for a certain category of people. First, understand that polyester itself is a very, very dead material. So the players like it because they can take a really full cut at the ball, and the ball's not going to fly so hard, but it does allow them to take that big cut. Number two is the polyester will grab the ball a little bit, helping create a very, very good friction, allowing players to develop a little bit more rotation on the ball, which they really, really like. The problem with polyester is it's not going to break too often at the 3.5 or 4.0 level, and it's dead to start with, so when it dies, you don't know, and it doesn't have a long lifespan, which we can get into in a little bit. Under the polyester category, there's two other groups that we talk about. One is copoly, which is really just a better version of the polyester. It's more flexible, a little bit safer, and better for your arm. It will move a little bit more than the pure poly does, and it's been a great addition to the poly group to allow more players to use it safely. The other one is the sided polyesters, and we're seeing a lot today with RPM Blast and Solinco barbed wire and Dunlop Black Widow, and even the Gamma Zoverve. And they have different numbers of sides on them, but this is increasing rotation on the ball and making the game very interesting. Some of them are copolys, some of them are pure polys, but nonetheless they do grab the ball better and help generate rotation. After the poly category, we talk about multifilaments, and basically what multifilament means is that you have a core or an outer sphere of a string with a bunch of different strings or cores within that string. That's going to give you a much better feel, a much softer texture, a much more gut-like feel, if you will, even though nothing really replicates gut that well. The last category, or next to last category, really is monofilaments, and these are your pure synthetics. They're inexpensive, they don't break too quickly, and all it is a single core with a wrap, and boom, off you go and you play. And the last group of strings that are really important are gut. And there's nothing better than gut. People will tell you it's really comfortable, enjoyable to use. It's the best material out there for your arm, and it's lively. The problem with gut is it's very temperamental. It's not great in the rain or with moisture or with high humidity and heat, so you have to take very good care of it. Those of you that like to leave your racket in the car, gut's not for you, whether it be hot or cold. You live in Alaska, you live in Florida, neither one. Shouldn't leave the strings in the car or the rackets in the car. So now that we've sort of discussed what everything's for, let's talk about who polyester is for, because we ran into a bunch of stuff with tennis elbow issues, even at our club where the guru speaks. Just kidding. Polyester, again, because it's a dead material and it's a very rigid material, was great at a certain level, but after you get below, say, a 4.5 or a 4.0 even, and that's a bit of a stretch, you want to steer away from polyesters. The reason is off-center hits are going to be very, very painful, and that string is not forgiving at all, number one. Number two, because it doesn't die, it's already dead, it's going to be a much more difficult time for people to say, hey, it's time to replace my strings. So we recommend if somebody does go to poly, either they use it as a blend, number one, or they use it as a cross instead of a blend, or they don't use it. When you do use it, we're recommending for better players who are playing 3 or more times a week, probably 4 to 6 weeks is the lifespan of that string. After that time, we ask them, hey, I know it didn't break, but it's probably a good idea to restring. If my good friend Mrs. Blivitz, who's living in the southeast with the size 6 skirt and the size 12 backside, uses it, she's probably going to get tennis elbow, as are her friends and her spouse. So we're really recommending that if you're not at least a 4.0 level player, you probably should stay away from the poly. You could dabble in the co-polys, but again, be careful. If you do use poly and you're not a high level player, we would recommend that it goes cross versus main, because most of the resilience and work that the strings do comes from the main strings, and those are the strings going up and down. It's going to the effect of the poly is definitely going to be minimized in your cross strings, but it's going to save your arm a little bit more. It's not going to do everything the poly should do, but it will have some effect. And if you are going to blend it, we ask you to think at least a little bit about blending it with a really good synthetic, a good multi-filament synthetic string. Okay? Have a great day. That's all I can tell you right now. Gotta run. Bye.